What's going on, world? This be your boy, the HOC up in here, Eddie Cool, the head of creative, and welcome to the Sports Bros podcast. Guess what? We might have a different look, a different feel, because we are at the Sound Up Studios, an actual, real live studios. I can look to my right and see the Almighty B Live, my left and see the Money Man Scotty D. I'm happy. We got all the Sports Bros in one place at the same damn time. And like I said, as always, I'm flanked by the Almighty B Live.
What's going on, Sports Bros family? This is episode number 13, and we're coming to you in North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. 3 bros, one place, same time, man. I'm excited. Unfortunately, I got to look at Scotty D in front of me for the first time. It's a little rough, but you know what? I'm going to make it. It's going to be all right.
And as always, we got the Money Man Scotty D.
So this is what you guys look like. Wow, this is kind of different, huh?
Yeah, this is
perfect faces for radio. Here we go, boys.
So you got a face made for radio, I guess so. All right, guys, let's not lollygag no more. We actually had the chance to sit down last night and watch Game 2 of the NBA Finals between the Toronto Raptors and the visiting Golden State Warriors, and the series are tied. And the series is tied at 1. B-Live, what you got on that?
This was a perfect example of just resiliency.
Mm-hmm.
I was thoroughly impressed because Toronto really came out. Once again, the energy from the crowd was absolutely amazing. And they really they put Golden State in a situation they've never been in before, really. They scored, I think, another half where they scored like 50 points, less than 60 points, which is unheard of. I think they scored maybe 20 points in the first quarter. Yep. This is not Golden State. It's actually not basketball as far as the modern day is. Every team scoring 120, 130, 140 points. But Toronto matched up with them defensively, slowed down the game, and made it a completely different game, and had Golden State with their backs against the wall, possibly facing a 2-0 deficit. And then third quarter, Golden State happened.
Yep.
And we all know what third quarter Golden State is, and it was a completely different ball game. When Golden State goes on a run, they go on a run, and they will literally take the life out of the crowd, and that's exactly what happened. And Toronto never recovered. And me, honestly, I don't think Toronto may ever recover, because that was a confidence builder for Golden State, which they never really lack of confidence.
Right.
But it's one of those things where now they have a couple of days. They're going to the Oracle. They're going back to Golden State. There's a couple injuries here and there, but now they made it. They took the one game that they needed to now where Golden State has the home field advantage. So we'll see how this goes, but Toronto had that chance to put the foot on the neck and just let Golden State do their thing in the third quarter, and the rest is history.
In the words of Dennis Green, they let him off the hook.
They did let him off the hook. They really. We said before the game last night they needed to win that game.
Mm-hmm.
If they would have gone up 2-0, that's a whole different mindset. You got to win on the road to be a champion, and Golden State showed that they could do that last night. And we were talking about that if they didn't take advantage of not having Durant in the lineup, then it could be a problem. And you had a chance once again, not only with Durant out, but then Klay Thompson got hurt in the middle of that game. At one point, Iguodala was kissing the floor. I mean, he ended up coming back, obviously, and hitting that big shot at the end. But and we were also saying last night, the NBA with this new the 3-point mindset from the whole team. There was 4 possessions down the stretch. If they get to the rim, get on the free throw line, or get an easy bucket, and I say easy, but Golden State was playing D. But my point is, if they would have not just settled for the 3-pointer, they did on 4 straight possessions, I think.
Yep,
missed all 4 3-pointers. And, if you just build a couple buckets right there, then the game would have been much different. Then Iguodala's 3-pointer wouldn't have necessarily been the nail in the coffin. They still would have had time to come back and tie it up or even win in regulation. But and that's the problem that I personally, that's a different topic really, but the whole everybody in the league now trying to beat the Warriors at their own game.
Can't do that.
You can't do it. I mean,
Just like it's the classic case of, live by the three and die by the three.
Yep.
And they, in Toronto, damn sure, laid in the ground in the dirt. They died by the three.
they
definitely
died
last
by
night.
it at the end of the game there. They definitely did.
One thing I would definitely, this is going to be a first time in history that me and the money man agree on something, because I 100% agree with you with the 3-point. Like, you attack the rim. You've been taught that as a basketball enthusiast. As I grew up playing basketball, that was my sport. You attack the rim, and if you don't make the shot, you at least get fouled, and you go to the free throw line.
And get you two,
You
yeah.
keep shooting up threes after threes, and you missing, you get 0 points. You at least have the opportunity to get 1 or 2. And just those 4 possessions,
Yeah.
you get 1 point out of those 4 possessions. You get 2 out of one of the possessions. That's a tie game. Or Toronto was up, and Iguodala has to hit that shot to tie the game, as opposed to it ended up being somewhat meaningless that he actually took the shot.
Mm-hmm.
But he took the shot, and what was it? Nick Nurse, a coach for Toronto, was like, "Well, we'll let him have that shot any day of the week, and
So we'll live with that. Yeah,
we'll live with that." But
he shouldn't have taken that shot.
No.
He shouldn't have taken it. But he's like Big Shot Rob. He takes the big shots in the big game.
I'm glad you brought that up, because Chauncey Billups said that Andre Iguodala is this generation's Robert Horry. Personally, Iggy is an athletic version, a more athletic version of Robert Horry, because Robert Horry, I think he averaged 2.9 points a game, 5 points. It was real low. His average was real low for points per game. Iguodala can blow up at any moment. Have a 35 point game, 15-point game, 10-point game, and shoot the shots that we saw last night. But it's just the fact that I think it's a bit of a stretch to call him this generation's Robert Horry. What you think, Scotty D?
I understand the comparison in that Iguodala is not the marquee name on his team. He's not the first, even second, third option on his team. And Robert Horry never had plays designed for him. That wasn't his game either. He was a defensive specialist. I think Andre Iguodala is a better skill player because when he was with Philly, he was their guy. I mean, he was an all-star as the number 1 guy in Philadelphia, and pretty much going to Golden State accepted a role as not the leader of the team, not the best guy in the team, and it's obviously been wonderful for his career as he's been now a 3-time champion and a Finals MVP. But I understand that comparison as he's paralleling him to being a guy that'll take a big shot, that's not afraid of the big moment. Robert Horry was never the best guy on the team, but he was a calming influence and he was always the guy that would take the other team's best player and guard him. So that's where I understand it. Their games are not similar, but I understand that role comparison.
Yep. Be-Li, what you think about it?
Maybe we should get to a point in basketball when we're analyzing the sport, we're talking about it, we're commentating on it, that we stop comparing different eras. Because they're trying to bridge the gap, I guess. And just things don't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to me, because I think they're 2 entirely different players. The point that you made that he was the key guy in Philly is a perfect example of that. And it's one of those things that right now he's taken the position as a role player, but he's definitely they're 2 entirely different players. Maybe they're saying that Iguodala has made the big shot a couple of times, and that sort of reminds me of somebody. But to say that he's this generation's Robert Horry, I guess that's what they're trying to do. They're bridging the gap in something that's 2 entirely different eras.
Yeah,
they keep comparing LeBron James to Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. It's 2 different eras. Do I think that LeBron James would survive in Michael Jordan's era? I don't think so. Do I think Michael Jordan would survive in LeBron's era? This is going to be a shocker. I don't think Michael Jordan survives in LeBron's era. You know why I say that? Because clearly athletes are more athletic now.
Yeah, that's true.
They're I mean, the game is faster than what it was back in Jordan's era. So, I mean, Jordan still will be the greatest of all time. I think he will adapt much better than LeBron would in Jordan's era. But it wouldn't be this. It wouldn't be the same player. I mean, Jordan would. One clear point I like to make is the fact that he probably have to develop more of a 3-point game because of the way the game has changed. Because
he did that.
But here's the thing:
He did that.
He would end up having to shoot more because
yeah, but like he said, he would have adapted. But everything's different, so his game would have been different.
But
he still could jump out of the gym in 1985. He could do that in 2019 if he was that age.
But how many times would he be dunking the ball and then your Steph Curry's be throwing up a 3-pointer and they would be -1 every single possession?
Hey, you got a point.
So that's
come on.
But that's what I'm saying. You're bridging the gap of something that. What? It's two entirely different games.
Do you realize I've seen you 2 days in a row and you've had a different Clemson shirt on both days?
Yes.
Is that your whole wardrobe?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Absolutely. And you know what? How much time have we gone into? Because we
barely 15 minutes. Scott.
15 minutes.
Barely 15 minutes.
Yeah,
and
2 days, 2 Clemson shirts.
We're actually shooting this on video.
Yeah.
I didn't even know this. Thank you, Sean. But you never see us. But you decided now to talk about Clemson? Yes, I'm going to wear it. It's all day, every day. But see, Eddie, cool. What do I tell you every single week? Get some control up in here.
I got control. Once again, I got to take this Amtrak and with my big muscles and put it back on the track. All right, so here we go. The Stanley Cup Finals, the Boston Bruins versus the St. Louis Blues. And the Bruins lead the series 2-1. Now, me and the money man, Scotty D, we had a chance to see a good portion of the game last. Was it Saturday night?
Yeah, we watched game 3.
Yeah, game 3, and we left before they even piled up even more goals on them, and it was just I'm gonna let you take this one, Scott.
It was out of control early. We kept saying if they cut it to 2 goals going into the third period, maybe we have a game. And St. Louis at home rocking like that, their first Stanley Cup. First time they hosted the Stanley Cup, and the better team, I think, is Boston's the better team, and that just came out at the end of if you watch the overtime in game 2, St. Louis was just dominant. They were completely focused and on fire, and they were not getting out of that building without the win. But sometimes that happens when you're at home, and you're a little bit more distracted. You're not quite as intense and focused. I don't know if that's the case, but Boston came out bombing, so. I think the better team is ahead. I mean, it's still early. It's 2-1. Game as we're recording, game 4 is tonight, I believe, back in St. Louis. So they could even this up and turn it into a best of 3, and anything could happen. But I still just think Boston is the best team, and that's why they're doing what they're doing. They're the best team. I hate saying that yet again about another Boston team. Sick of their parades up there, but
duck boats and
but that seems like where we're headed for another Boston victory.
Duck boats and Dunkin' Donuts. I'm sorry, Dunkin'. Be like, what you think about this here? I mean, they shellacked them like 7-2, and it's just.
Here's one thing I want to point out because I tagged a couple of friends of mine. When I was watching at work at Mac's Speed Shop, 42 North McPherson Church Road, Fayetteville, North Kakalaki.
Go in there and get you a good old burger.
Yes, sir. I still want that sponsorship money. Hey, holla at a brother. Anyway, I tagged a couple people because after game 2, there was a little altercation between one of the St. Louis players and the Boston bench. And I can't say this on air because there was a little expletive in there, but he essentially skated by the bench and said, "You guys are effed." And
he said the F word?
Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And guess what that is? That is locker room material. Guess what? You just ignited the entire Boston bench and the Boston fan base. And guess what happened to you in game 3? You got effed because they came out and put down a whooping. They beat them senseless. And it was one of those things where a lot of emotions go into a game and everything. A lot of things happen. And St. Louis was on the guy. He was on a little high and everything like that. But yeah, I saw that. I tagged a couple of my Boston fans, friends, and they were ignited, and they're sitting at a bar in Fayetteville, North Carolina. So can you imagine being the players on the ice? I'm pretty sure they replayed that video because it's on social media.
Everywhere.
It's viral.
Is everywhere. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they played that in the locker room before they came out and said, okay, we got something for you in your house.
Yeah, that's stupid. Why poke the bear? I mean, getting out of there, you stole home ice. Why even bother doing that? That's stupid.
I mean, it was clear as day that, we all know that Boston is the more skilled team. St. Louis gave them a good fight. I still think it could go back and forth. I see it 6 games. I think I said Boston in 5 at first. I see Boston in 6. I see enough fight in St. Louis. I think they even it up, but I think at the end of the day, it starts to wear on them. The more skilled team, the more talented team. Boston is 6. I'm gonna adjust that.
And no player that plays for Dabo would ever do anything like that.
Oh boy, here we go.
Would never do.
Dabo
No
jabs,
Dabo
baby.
player would do anything like that. No, all roads lead to Dabo, and all roads lead to Clemson. So I'm just saying.
Here we go.
Lesson learned. Watch.
I love the fact that it's not me. Like I'll have a pepper point here and there. About Clemson, but now it's gotten to the point where the 2 co-hosts, one of them being a South Carolina Lamecock fan.
Watch your mouth.
I said it. I'm going to say it again. But y'all talk more about Clemson than I do at this point in time.
We love them.
It's
all about Clemson.
I just wear the shirt. That's all I do. And
shirts, plural.
And I want to say thank you. Quick shout out to Josh Starnes. He actually printed the I Bleed Orange shirt that I wore yesterday. They got a lot of rave yesterday. Hit him up on Facebook. He Bleed Orange guy. Definitely funny guy. Hear ye. I digress. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, bring your own guts. But yeah, that's it for the Boston and St. Louis series. It's gonna be physical. It's gonna be chippy, and hopefully St. Louis can come back from that royal thrashing that they received at the hands of the Boston Blues.
Come on, Blues.
Yeah.
Hold on. Can I do the segue for this one? And speaking of thrashing, go ahead.
Yeah,
my bad. I had to do it.
You had to, by law. And speaking of thrashings, we all had the chance to sit in one room and see what in the hell happened between Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz Jr. B-Lab, this is a perfect moment for what happened to you.
What happened to Anthony Joshua? Because here's one thing. We got a chance to watch it again, but we actually skipped through the first 3 rounds, and we started watching it the 4th round of the match when we were together a couple last night, and we all were questioning why is the taller with more reach in better fit and shape, why is he not jabbing the mess out of him, keeping the distance where, Andy Ruiz couldn't get on the inside, and, he shouldn't have been able to touch the guy at all. And we're trying to wonder why are we watching this, and why does it look like he doesn't have a jab, he's out of breath. And then the 7th round, when he got knocked out, not once but twice, and then was in La La Land. Do you know where you are? Friday. Okay, gotcha. That's our little running joke that we have going on. But yeah, the 3rd round said it all. When Andy Ruiz pieced him up, I'm talking about. And one thing for those that don't know anything about boxing, you just see a bunch of people just throwing a bunch of haymakers, everything. Everybody wants to go for the head. Do you understand that body shots are more devastating? Because I've always been taught, if you cannot breathe, you cannot fight.
That's true.
You cannot breathe. And, he pieced him up right all up in the chest, caved his whole insides, made him reevaluate who he was as a person and why he was in this ring at this point in time, because he was a completely different person after round 3. That when Ruiz got a hold of his body and caved him in, he couldn't breathe anymore. He couldn't hold up the jab anymore. So the reach disadvantage was gone.
Yeah.
The reach advantage was gone for Anthony Joshua, and that was the telltale sign. He got on the inside, and after it's all said and done, the bigger, heavier, huskier guy was in more shape, because guess what? He could still breathe after 7 rounds.
And he's bringing back the dad bods.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Woo. Scotty D, what you got?
This was bigger than just a guy losing a fight. This was big, I think, for a few different reasons. Eddie and I were talking Saturday night. Right now, there were 3 big heavyweights that we all wanted to see fight: Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua, and Tyson Fury. And we were saying the 3 of these guys need to quit messing around and fight each other. All 3 of them need to get in the ring and fight each other.
Yep, and get that money. Yep.
Get that money and bring people back to boxing, because boxing has definitely lost its shine. UFC has gained traction through the years, or MMA in general has gained traction. This is a chance for the heavyweight division to reel people back into boxing. The Klitschko's have ruled boxing, and we never see them. They fight overseas in their pay-per-views in the middle of the afternoon. So we've lost track of the heavyweight title. And Anthony Joshua beat Klitschko, and this was his first time in America fighting, because he's British, I believe. This is their first time. He's in Madison Square Garden. Man, he had a chance to put some shine and some light on the heavyweight division and set up the matches between those 3 guys. And he just didn't look like he had the killer instinct. I mean, he cost money to all 3 of those fighters, I think. But what bothered me, we were talking, it bothered me, one, that he wasn't throwing his jab, and he looked soft. He looked softer than the soft guy looked.
Yeah.
And
that's saying a lot.
Yeah. But who knows? I mean, maybe he was feeling the effects. We saw him get hit in the ear. Maybe his equilibrium's off. Maybe he's not right. But when the fight was over, he was in there with his arms around his opponent, taking pictures, smiling, laughing. It was like 2 soccer players that had just gone to a draw, and there was 1-1, and they trade jerseys. And you've seen that. I mean, how many times have you seen soccer players trading jerseys after a tie game?
They trade jerseys in every sport.
Okay.
You're so disrespectful.
I am not disrespectful. Allow me to finish, please. They just looked like they were 2 buddies, not 2 guys who were just out there trying to tear their heads off. If I'm Anthony Joshua and I just got knocked out, well, actually, he didn't even look like he wanted to keep fighting. It looked questionable at first why the referee stopped it, because he was standing and he was looking at him in the eye, but I just don't think the dude wanted to keep going. He was content to take that loss and then go take selfies with the guy. I mean, come on, Anthony Joshua.
And then
that's terrible.
And then, when that last knockout came about, I noticed, okay, where's his mouthpiece? And the referee's like, hey, here's your mouthpiece. And of course, hey man, where are you? Friday. And, and the ref's like, you know what? That's enough. It caught me off guard.
He was hurting. I mean, he was definitely hurting, because he spit out his mouthpiece and didn't really want it back. I mean, it was kind of it. But I thought he was over the top friendly afterwards. He just looked like he was enjoying the moment with the guy, and he just got beat and just lost 3 titles,
3 belts,
and a bunch of money. Come on,
you just lost 3 belts and a bunch of money.
Be mad about it.
Yeah, be mad. Have some fire. Be angry. You just lost like you said, he just lost a bunch of money and 1, 2, 3 belts, and just like, okay, let's take pictures for the Instagram. What?
Smiling like a soccer player.
I mean, literally, I'm gonna let that one slide, because you know what? I'm gonna let that slide because you made a very valid point. I'm not hugging you in a combat sport after I just lost to you. Like, that's not going to happen.
Well, I'm not going to go as far as that, because you see these UFC fighters a lot that they just talk mad trash, and when it's over, they hug it out and they bury the hatchet. But it was a different feel.
That's what they embrace after. It's a show of respect.
Yeah.
But you're not posing for photos afterwards.
Yeah, it just looked bad to me.
That was like, what? Wait a minute. What? I said it like this, and I might catch some heat for this, but it almost looked like the match might have been fixed. Like, I'm just telling you right now, because he got pieced up, he was hurt a little bit, but it was one of those things where he literally looked like he gave up. Like, you're going down in the 7th, and then you know what? All right, And then because he's from United Kingdom, Britain, whatever they call themselves this day, Brexit, whatever. I don't even.
He's from
know.
where they play soccer all the time,
Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah.
Okay,
Shout out to our
entire
listeners in the United
world.
Kingdom.
That's an entire world, by the way, not just one freaking country. And shout out to Liverpool Football Club for winning the Champions League, by the way. Thanks for the segue. But with that being said, they do things a little bit differently in Great Britain. Because
they shake hands.
They shake and have tea
and
at 4 o'clock. Let me see.
crumpets.
Since we're on the camera, put the pinky up.
Earl Grey.
That was odd, to say the least. And one of the things, boxing is, as far as like your combat sports, UFC, even wrestling, they build a storyline behind it to sell tickets. I don't know if I ever want to see an Anthony Joshua fight again, because I'm like, dude, I want to see that killer instinct. I want to see you. I want to see you talk trash. I want to see the rematch. Like right now, it would be a decent rematch for them to have if they weren't hugging it out and having selfies and taking Instagram photos after the fight. Who wants to see that? Because I'm tell you right now, I don't think it's going to be a brawl.
Yeah, because after seeing that photo op and the huggy and the kissy, that kind of did that kind of like that to steal a term from the wrestling business. It kind of killed the push, if you will.
Right.
It kind of killed the push. So I'm kind of like,
fire out of it.
Yeah, it's like, if they didn't have if they wasn't hugging and taking pictures and everything, okay, good. We can see them fighting. All right, good. It's going to be a heated rivalry, Joshua Ruiz too, and I guess this is over with. All right, and so after watching that, it was just atrocious. He gave up. All right, now we've come to our personal favorite section of the show. It is called the Choices of the Voices. In case you're unfamiliar with the Choices of the Voices, every week the Money Man Scotty D lays out a question, and you guys, you answer it. You answer it. We agree with your answer or not. You come through, you participate, and that's what we encourage. So, Scotty D, what was the question for this for last week's show that we're answering this week?
Last week I asked, what athlete are you just ready to see retire? Now, I think there might have been a little confusion. I didn't say who do you think should or who do you think is ready to retire. It's who do you want to see retire for whatever your reasons are. And we had a bunch of pretty good responses.
Yep, we had some good responses. And Uncle Max came through.
Yeah, we missed him last week, so I told him we were gonna bring him up first this week. He said Odell Beckham Jr. He didn't elaborate, but I don't think he had to. His antics are enough to really rub you the wrong way. So thank you, Uncle Max, for the Odell Beckham response. We'll take that.
Yeah, did you see Odell's car with was it Rolls Royce, where it pops up and it has him like the hood ornament, him doing the catch or whatever?
Unlike some people, I could give two craps about Odell Beckham's outside antics. Show me something on the field. That's why I think Cleveland is going to do some damage. I don't want to see the man retire, but I just want to see his product on the field. I want to see, does he make Cleveland better?
Yeah.
Like Uncle Max, I agree with the fact, like, I don't want to see all those antics. I just want to see him play.
Yeah, play football.
Play football. I could care less about the rest. And I mean,
I want to see him cut his hair. I don't like the blonde curly hair. I think he looks dumb.
Yeah.
See, I don't like the blonde curly hair. I don't like Ezekiel Elliott's abs, and I mean, there's a lot of stuff I don't like.
Yeah.
But that's hey, I digress. So.
All right, so here we go. All right, Will Berry. We had to make sure we had to pronounce his name because we got a little bit of heat for it, and I was like, well, we pronounce your name the way that you typed it on the Facebook, so therefore we're going to say your name. Will Berry said, Big Ben and Antonio Brown, they both should retire due to their diva behavior. I kind of would, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that one. But I see where he's coming from,
Well, that's the same boat as Beckham, Antonio Brown, the diva receiver role. A lot of people don't like that.
I'm going to say Big Ben should retire because he said he was going to retire.
Yeah.
But what?
Years ago.
Yeah, right. And so whatever, and then I'm not gonna go into some of his other antics and why he's still actually in the league and not in a jail cell somewhere. But See,
You gonna let it go?
I will say this. I'm gonna give a quick shout out to a couple of Steeler fans out there. Veronica Bruno, love you, girl. Your taste in team sucks, but I still love you. Dwight Burris back in Fayetteville, big brother. I appreciate you, man. I just want to give you a shout out. Your team still sucks, and Big Ben should be incarcerated. But besides that, showing the love to some of the voices out there.
Yep. Also, Brittany Taylor said the same thing. Big Ben. We got a whole lot of Big Ben.
Yeah, she's a Steeler fan, so she's ready to see him go, I guess. Huh?
Yeah.
And thank you for some female input. We have.
We got some female input.
Got some
this
female
week,
input this week. Yeah.
And I think that right there also shows where the problem is in Pittsburgh, because you're wondering, like, you got Le'Veon Bell not wanting to play there anymore, Antonio Brown not wanting to play there anymore, and if you got two of the most dynamic players in their position not wanting to play somewhere, there's got to be a problem somewhere.
Two brats. They're brats.
Yeah.
And Big Ben's a tool, so there's your winning combination.
Two brats and a tool. I'm just thinking that, with we had this conversation before. Be like, I think with all that talent, why would you do anything less of winning the Super Bowl? Anything less? I mean, the defense is it hasn't been typical Pittsburgh defense as it has been over the past few years, whatever. But it's serviceable. And you got two weapons to put up points, and so it's kind of like, what the hell's going on?
But you asked the question, why haven't they won the Super Bowl? That leads us to another guy that people want to see retire. Maybe that's why they haven't won more Super Bowls.
Probably that could be it's the straw to break the camel's back. All right,
Tom Brady.
Oh boy, here we go.
Tom Brady's the one. I think everybody's ready to see him retire, right?
Yeah, they're ready to get him up out the building quick. Trey Duke said Dak Prescott because he sucks and he's holding back my team. We got a residential Cowboys fan, the money man, in the house, so we're gonna.
Well, I have watched many games with Trey Duke, and if Dak Prescott so much as throws an incomplete pass, he's gone. He's ready to send him. So. Last week he clowned us. This week he's clowning our team. He's just a Prescott hater. He never got over Tony Romo leaving, so that's why Trey.
Let me get this one. No. So you're telling me right now that you had more faith in Tony Romo than Dak Prescott? Come on. I know I'm not hearing this correctly. Please, Scott, tell me something different. Is this what's really happened?
That is where we're at with our friend Trey Duke.
Wow.
Yep.
Ooh-wee.
And I'm a Cowboy fan too, so I'm rooting for Prescott. Actually, I don't want to see him fail. I'm rooting for him to succeed, not to fail. I think he has a lot of shortcomings as a quarterback, and I'm hoping as a young player he overcomes them going forward. That's where I'm at. But Trey's not having it.
You know what? I apologize because I just realized that your fan base is not as different as my beloved fan base of the Carolina Panthers.
Oh, boy.
Because I got a full-on fan base that would love to see Jake Delhomme back at quarterback. I got a full-on fan base that love the fact that we picked up Will Grier. And it blows my mind. Some backwards thinking that Cam Newton has literally been the best thing that has ever happened to Carolina Panthers. I can tell you right now, if it wasn't for Cam Newton, the Panthers wouldn't be a $2.3 billion franchise.
That's true.
I can tell you that right now. So Dak Prescott has the tools. Like, I think with what they have this year, I'm going to say it as an unbiased sports analyst. We're amateurs, by the way.
Amateurs.
But I want to make it be known that the tools that Dak Prescott and Dallas Cowboys have, I can see them in the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, I'd already predict they won't lose a game this year. We've already covered that. Yeah, absolutely.
You'll learn. You'll learn.
Absolutely.
You'll learn to close the floodgates one day. You will learn to take your own foot out your own mouth.
I appreciate the props.
Jesus, but yeah,
you gonna learn.
So I get where some people like the traditional style quarterback that don't do much of anything, because Tony Romo, he was never a big time like when he was a he get you stats during regular season. He was. I mean,
listen, buddy. All right, listen.
Oh my God.
Because we're under time constraints, I'm gonna explain this to you maybe off the air or on a future show. But this is the choices of voices section. But I have a whole big theory on Roma that I'll be willing to share with you. I'll give us something to look forward to as we get closer to football season.
Yeah,
And I'll lay some knowledge on you there and give you a fresh perspective, like a perspective of a guy whose eyes are open and
Okay. So
and has a high sports IQ.
Okay.
Wow.
I'll share with you.
So my eyes are closed, and I'm a sports.
No,
dummy.
I didn't say that. I didn't say
All
that.
right, so here
Back
we
to Eddie
go.
Cole here.
Here we go. The show has been hijacked. Hell. All right, so here we go. Rodney Bellamy, shout out to Rodney Bellamy for coming through one more time, and he says Tom Brady. He went into like a lengthy explanation, but all I got to say is Patriots, Dolphins, division rivals. He's sick of looking at them. We are too. So, Rodney, I understand where you come from, but I wanted to see Tom Brady get the hell on with his beautiful wife and his bunch of money and his children.
You noticing the theme here of the selections? Football players.
Yeah.
Everyone's picking football players. That just shows the emotion that the NFL brings out of your average fan. That was on the top of everyone's brain. Can't blame them. That's an emotional sport.
And Brian Davis, he says Eli Manning.
Agreed with that one.
I'm with that one too.
That's it.
I just
think
want
that's
to
unanimous.
I just want to slap his face, no matter what he does. I want to slap Eli's face.
But
I love his brother. I just want to slap him.
But the thing about it is that guess what? Eli Manning's never going to retire because guess what? He cloned himself and changed his name to Daniel Jones. But if that ain't Eli cloned like I've ever seen, and the fact that they chose him over. Oh my! I forgot his name. Because
Dwayne Haskins.
Dwayne Haskins is laughable. Why?
But we'll get into the Dwayne Haskins comparison during the football season. Football season is going to be busy, fellas, between college football and pro football. We're going to be busy, but that's good. That's what we're here to do. As long as they give us stuff to talk about, we're going to talk. Or should I say, we're going to opine about it.
Right.
Let's see. Here's an interesting one. Jana Clem, okay? She said she would like to see Patrick Mahomes retire. Now, see, going into his third year, the current NFL MVP, he can't retire. It ain't going to happen, okay? Get a good dose of seeing that number 15 Sundays, Mondays, Thursdays, whenever he feels like just throwing that ball all over the place. Minus Tyreek Hill, but that's neither here nor there. But him retire, what?
All right, I'm gonna step in and defend this beautiful young lady because I know where her heart is. She is all things Boston, and if you watched the AFC Championship last year, Mahomes pretty much was there to dethrone the king. If it wasn't for some idiot who doesn't know how to line up on sides, the Patriots wouldn't have even won that Super Bowl last year. The Chiefs would have been in there with the Rams. So Patrick Mahomes looks like he is poised to take the crown and keep it. You know, Eli knocked off the king, and Nick Foles knocked off the king, but they didn't keep the crown. But Patrick Mahomes, he looks like the NFL's version of Steph Curry, where he's this exciting, dynamic, young player and does things that we're not used to seeing. And so I can understand where she's coming from as far as if you're a Patriot and you've ruled the roost all these years, he's a threat. So I can understand that.
A threat to the throne,
Yes.
she says. A threat to the throne. So, be like, how you feel about that?
No.
He saw my point. That's why.
You
agree.
I
agree.
I do not agree.
Yep.
I don't agree. That doesn't make any sense. She's a Patriot fan. You just won the Super Bowl. Why would you want anybody? Why? You just won. I would understand if you lost to Patrick Mahomes, you'd want to see the man retire. But guess what? The torch is going to be passed anyway at some point in time. Why would you want? Who's the Patriots' backup quarterback?
Brian Hoyer? No, I'm joking.
Alex Van Pelt.
That doesn't even
Steve
sound
Grogan. I think it's Steve Grogan.
But my point exactly is like you just won. Why would you want to see somebody else just because they were a threat to you Wow.
A threat to the throne.
Yeah, I don't get that. You just won. That's just like me.
Listen, I'm just trying to defend her. Another lady jumps in and shares her voice with us. It's Ladies' Day here. The first time we've had a couple ladies that have chimed in, that have opined. So that's why I'm.
I just want to make sure that they'll catch this heat too.
Oh no!
Just want to make sure it's known. I love you. I haven't met you yet, but guess what? If I hear something, I'm gonna speak my piece on it. It would be just like me right now saying that, I want Nick Saban to retire because guess what? We just beat the brakes off of him. 44 to 16.
That's what this question is about.
I don't want to see Nick Saban retire. I want to beat him 3 more times.
So he just want to rub it in his face as much as he takes great joy and pleasure taking an orange washcloth and just go and roll your tide with that.
So who's your choice then?
Who's okay?
Oh, have we got everyone else's?
Yeah.
Yes, we got everybody. Thanks for participating in Choice of the Voices.
So who's yours?
You know who I would like to see retire, and it's completely different from what this list is. I want to see Vince Carter retire, and I want to see him get the farewell tour.
Okay. That's a fair one.
Yeah, I want to see him get all the pomp and circumstance that D-Wade got last year.
Mm-hmm.
I think Vince Carter has done a tremendous deal for the NBA. He was our version of Dominique Wilkins with the highlight reel.
Mm-hmm, he was.
He electrified.
Best dunker ever.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He electrified the sport and just the longevity. And he's still a productive.
He's still playing.
Yeah,
he's still good.
Isn't he one of the last players from the 90s to still be playing?
I think so.
Because
it was Dirk. And then, Dirk. I think Dirk just retired.
Yeah, Dirk just retired. And then it was
because Dirk.
Kobe.
I think Dirk got a little bit of a farewell. I saw him embrace it, but I think Vince Carter is the last of the '90s era. It's so hard to say goodbye.
All right, that's enough. We're gonna have to pay some money with money we ain't got right now, so we're not gonna pass on that. My choice is Eli Manning simply because it's like, dude, it's just time to go. It's just time to go. I mean, do what you can to bring up Daniel Jones. Then just don't do like, Big Ben Roethlisberger when they drafted Mason Rudolph and he was like, nah, I'm not going to say nothing to him. I'm like, I don't understand that. Like, if you're a elder statesman quarterback, you know that eventually your time is going to end. Unless you run here like Brett Favre and, had a rivalry with your backup quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, the guy who superseded you and took your job and also won a Super Bowl. So I'm like, okay, Brett, you two are 1-1 as far as Super Bowls go, so why are you mad? But the fact of the matter is, Eli just need to go ahead and groom Daniel Jones to the best of his ability and just go ahead and ride off into the sunset. I mean, just go ahead and take that Manning Brothers entity and make more State Farm commercials and things of that nature. So
I got a question, though, for Scotty, because this is your division, the New York Giants. Wouldn't you rather him keep trying to plug away?
Bingo. That's why he's not my choice.
Wow.
A few years ago, I would have. I've been so sick of watching that guy play. Like I said, I wanted to smack his face since the first time he ever stepped on the field. But lately, he sucked. So I'm not gonna. I don't want him to retire. I want him to keep on because the Cowboys been beating him up the last few years. He had our number early for a few years there. He was winning in Dallas every year for a few years in a row. He was going down there and winning, and I was sick of him. But you hit the nail on the head with that one. You're absolutely right.
Yep.
So as a Cowboy fan, the one guy that I would like to see retire is Aaron Rodgers because he has stuck the dagger in. And again, this is similar to the Mahomes answer. Aaron Rodgers isn't ready to retire. He's not quite to that point, but he's hurt me as a Cowboy fan more than once. So that was the I wrestled around with a couple answers. Eli, Dustin Pedroia. I've never liked watching him play as a guy. Well, he's on the verge. He's saying he may not play again. He's been hurt the last couple of years, and he might physically be unable to resume his career. And I'm fine with that because I've just never liked him. I don't like to see a guy hurt, but I've never liked Pedroia. But one person, and this is just a different angle that I would like to see retire, is Anderson Silva. And I kind of alluded to this a couple weeks ago. And it's not because I don't like him. It's because I like him a lot. And fighters are trained to overcome everything, and they're told, you're telling me I can't win, and I believe that I can win. But then Father Time interferes, and you have to reprogram yourself to say, maybe I can't. And that's where Anderson Silva is. And I don't want to see this guy go out there and rack up losses. No. He hasn't really won, I don't think, since 2012. I think it was his last legit win.
Yep, that's what I heard.
And one win that he did have against Nick Diaz was overturned to a no decision because of a drug suspension. And I love Anderson Silva. I watched him fight. He's fought twice this year, lost both times. It's just not the same guy. He got his knee kicked. He's on the ground, rolling around, hurt. Before he seriously gets hurt and messes up his legacy, Anderson Silva, you got to go, buddy.
Yeah,
I mean, because eventually these losses, you have to start holding them against them. I mean, at this point, you say he was the best ever, but now he's lost a few in a row, and it's acceptable because he's getting older. But at some point, if you just keep fighting, you're going to be like Roy Jones Jr., and you're not looked at as quite the same. I think Roy Jones is still fighting. Him and Holyfield, they're never going to quit. They're going to fight till they collect Social Security. And I don't want to see Anderson Silva do that either.
I think with Anderson Silva, man, he should have done what GSP did and just going out on top.
Perfect.
I'm gone.
That was perfect.
John Elway, hey, I'm gone.
Yeah.
Jerome Bettis, hey, I'm gone.
Peyton Manning.
It took a while, but hey, I'm gone. I think you should. I think if you should retire, you should retire on top, barring the circumstances and the situation, because all of it is different.
Yeah,
so,
it's just in their blood to keep going. These fighters, they need somebody to tell them, don't fight anymore. And BJ Penn's in the same boat. He just fought too, and I think he's lost like 8 or 9 in a row. Oof. But Anderson Silva was the class of all MMA. He was the guy, number one guy, unquestioned for many years, and I just don't want to see it anymore.
Well, I agree with you absolutely when it comes to the Spider. I think when it comes to his career, he's going to be this is going to be weird, but I think his career will be defined very similar to the way Michael Jordan was. Nobody talks about Michael Jordan when he was with the Wizards.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So it's one of those things where Anderson Silva has done more than enough for the sport. Yes, right now, yes, he does need to retire. But I think as far as his legacy is concerned, they will talk about. I mean, he revolutionized the sport. Like I think it was very enlightening to see him fight Adesanya. Like the styles were very similar.
Style bender.
Yeah. So I mean, I did like to see, and that was. I think that fight was passing the torch. The last one he just did though was
Okay, so pass the torch and be done with it.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
Pass the torch, don't grab it back. All right, Scotty D, what's the question for next week?
Well, B-Live has already kind of poo-pooed this earlier on by saying he doesn't want to compare eras, but that's what we're going to do because it's topical right now. A lot of people are looking at these Golden State Warriors as in the subject as one of the best NBA teams that ever be assembled. Recent history, people argue for the Chicago Bulls. So we ask you, who do you think is better? Who do you think would win in we'll say a 7-game series between the 90s Chicago Bulls and our modern Golden State Warriors? And you actually have 2 Bulls teams basically to select from. Jordan's first 3-peat team, Jordan and Pippen were the only 2 that were on the second 3-peat team. So, hey, maybe you can have the chance. You want to fight it out in your head of who you think is the better of those, and then choose that one to move on against the Golden State Warriors of today.
All right, so that is our question for next week's Choices of the Voices. We've come to another favorite part of the show, the penalty box. All right, here we go. Like I said, if you want a free trip to the penalty box, say something silly. I'm joking. It's all love, though. JR, he's still in the penalty box.
He's going to be permanently in the penalty box.
For blasphemous comments about Clemson, Tom Brady, and KD for being overrated. And the Cowboys, too.
Thank you.
For being overrated. Let's see. B-Live's buddy, Bob Kraft.
I'm looking at you, Bob, Robert Kraft.
Bruh.
I will not let this go. I want to make sure the camera is catching his face right now. I am never going to let it go. You, your 39-year-old girlfriend that can't do the job in the bedroom, that you want to be in Jupiter, Florida. Wow. And then everything just going to be swept on the rug. I'm not going to let it go. Old wrinkly bastard.
Wow. All right.
Was that the hot take that you were saving for earlier today?
I got a couple more.
Oh man. Oh man. Yeah, Bob Kramer's still on the penalty box. Scott's buddy Clint Hurdle, just for doing Clint Hurdle things.
Oh, he's not going to go anywhere.
Especially after Saturday night, the debacle we went to Saturday night.
12-10, they lost that game. Oh.
Yeah, it was just ridiculous. Let's see, and Jenna Clem just was saying she would like to see the current MVP retire.
Jana, I tried to stand up for you. He's putting you in the penalty box anyway.
No, yeah, I'm sorry. I appreciate you. Hey, and feel free to come back with a rebuttal and speak your piece, because this was the choices of the voices.
Yep.
If you think we're wrong, and I'm telling you right now, even though Scotty D doesn't think he's ever freaking wrong, he is wrong from time to time. And according to everybody, even myself, I stay wrong because I said
I didn't say nothing. But go ahead.
I don't know, but that's feel free. Let us know. Like, how you want Patrick Mahomes gone? Hey, I mean, I know some people. I'm kidding.
No, we
I'm
don't.
kidding.
We don't know nothing about nothing. Nothing about
it's
nothing.
It's gonna be over the airways. The FBI gonna be banging on my door.
Please, it ain't what you think it is. We're just doing a sports podcast. We're just talking, okay? We ain't about that action. Right. That action we ain't about. All right, speaking of action, we've come to the portion of the show we call the 3 pepper points. Of course, we find 3 points, sports-related, and we talk about them. So I'm going to throw the ball to Scotty D without breaking the microphone.
All right. My first point is Drake is a tool. All right, B-Live, over to you.
Are you going to give roll credits? Are you going to give an explanation, or is this it?
If you've seen him on TV, you don't need an explanation. He's a tool.
All right, B Live, you're next.
Let me bring this back in real quick. That was a heater. That was 100 mile per hour right there.
Or roll this Chapman on the back of my neck.
We're supposed to toss the ball over to me. All right, college baseball. Texas A&M versus West Virginia. West Virginia was up at one point 6-0, and then was up 9-1 against Texas A&M. This was an elimination game. They were up 9-1 in the 7th inning. Texas A&M claws their way back with 2 outs, 2 strikes in the 9th inning. Bryce Blom hits a walk-off grand slam for Texas A&M to beat West Virginia and continue on. But then, unfortunately, they lost to Duke later on that evening, and so they went home as well. But, man, a walk-off grand slam, that has got to be the peak and highlight.
That is.
Mm-hmm. That is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, and the way they clawed back, I thought it was absolutely amazing. Eddie Cool, get
all
you
right.
some.
So my second pepper point goes to Andy Ruiz Jr. for just going out there and shocking the world and costing a lot of people some money by defeating Anthony Joshua, and also to bringing back the dad bod. Scotty D.
You know who else he cost money this past week was Golden Corral, because he went in there and just tore that place up. They took an L on that bill.
Him and Jericho with the barrel.
Yeah, yeah. Chris Jericho is. So Calvin Johnson, I guess, is being sought after by the Lions to get back into their fold. They want to make amends. When he left the Lions, Megatron didn't leave on the best of terms, so they would like to have him back as I'm guessing as a PR thing. And he says, give him $1 million and he'll come back. Because what happened was this guy signed, I believe, I forget,
an 8-year deal.
An 8-year deal, and retired 3 years in. And the Lions, which I think was reasonable, expected him to pay back some of that signing bonus that was supposed to be prorated over his contract, and he ended up giving back $1 million, and he didn't like that. I would say, hey, Megatron, we'll show a picture of you on the big screen. We're going to keep that $1 million. Be live. Over to you, buddy.
All right, to my favorite sport to participate in now, bowling.
Bowling. Here we go.
Yes. We just witnessed this weekend the PPA Playoff Championship.
Who witnessed it?
You know what?
You didn't watch it.
You know what? Yes, you know what?
Nobody watched it. Nobody witnessed it.
Okay.
Continue on with your point. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You know what? This is the kind of stuff that
This is all the time. This is the Sports Bros podcast.
So where is your referee shirt?
Go ahead.
Where's your whistle?
Dude, I'm in the state of South Carolina. I don't have a referee license for the state of South Carolina. I think they want too much, but go ahead.
Chris Prather, 27-year-old from Plainsville, Illinois. He wins $100,000 winning the PBA playoff. It's a field of 24 that stretched over a month and a half of best of 3 series. And in game 1, Chris Prather picked up the 3-4, 6-7-10 split to pick up the win. Yes, you're going to have to count it out, look it over, because I know y'all two don't bowl and everything.
I bowl, okay? Just calm down. Just hold your horses.
The 3-6-10 is going to be 3 pins to the right-hand side. The 4 and 7 is going to be on the left-hand side right here. So it's a makeable split, but with the difficult oil patterns, it's not the easiest split to pick up. But just being able to hit that in the clutch, and quick shout out to him, and definitely the atmosphere, the electricity that was in the building is something that you never see in a bowling match. It's one of those things like bowling has a bright future bringing that energy and that electricity. And that's one of those things that in the future is something that I want to excite others about seeing that. So it's like, oh, this is a pretty cool sport to watch. Scotty D, I don't like the way you're looking at me right now.
I'm excited for the future. I'm with you.
Scott's like, I'm excited for the future.
Yeah.
Very.
I'm excited for the future of bowling. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Looks bright. I can see it with my eyes closed.
Eddie, cool. I'm going to bust you in the head with this ball. Go ahead.
That ain't what you're about to do. So anyways, my third and final pepper point goes out to the current, reigning, and defending WWE 24/7 champion R-Truth, who won the belt for a third time, 3 times. He's a 3-time 24/7 championship. In case you're unfamiliar with what the hell the 24/7 championship is, it is the clean version of the hardcore title. The mid-carders that are not being used, they're just chasing each other at Chuck E. Cheese and the golf course, and which is where this little match took place. And Jinder Mahal beat him for it, and then he hit him with the Billy Club, and he got the belt back again. So shout out to R-Truth for making WWE somewhat entertaining.
All right, so my final point is some interesting thing happened last week in that Tiger Woods' former swing coach Hank Haney came under fire. They asked him if who he thought was going to win the women's U.S. Open. I don't know if you guys saw this. They asked him a prediction, and he said, "I really don't know the names." I'm not giving this verbatim, but I'm paraphrasing. He said something to the effect of, "I don't really know many names, more than like 6 names on the tour, but I predict it'll probably be a Korean and somebody named Lee." And it was taken under fire. The point he was trying to make was that there was a lot of successful Koreans on the women's tour,
Which is true.
It is true. He was trying to make that point. He just didn't get it across very well, and he came under fire for that. And this is a day and age you have to be careful what you say. On Sunday, the winner of the women's U.S. Open was a South Korean girl named Lee Six, and that's all I have to say about that.
I knew it because I'm not gonna lie to you. I did not catch the end of that, but when it was a perfect segue. It was an absolute perfect segue. In Tiger Woods' part,
his mom was, I believe, Korean.
I was supposed to say it's one thing. He didn't mean it in that sense. Like some people just need to let it go. That might be a tranquilo moment.
But like Scotty D said, man, you got to learn, in this day and age, you got to make sure you breathe right, because if you breathe wrong, it's going down like 4 flat tires.
Now, let me hit this point real quick, and because we got things to do. Mm-hmm. But my third point, because while we are recording this on Monday, so as of today, Dallas Keuchel and Craig Kimbrell. Keuchel?
Dallas Keuchel, yeah.
Dallas Keuchel.
We know what you mean. We're with you.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
That I'm not a professional.
I thought it was the same thing. How they said, pronounce it how it looks or whatever. And
anyway, y'all know who I'm talking about.
Dallas Keuchel, yeah. We got you. Go ahead.
So now teams can sign both of those players without losing compensatory draft picks.
So that's what it was.
Okay. So I did further research. That's why they went unsigned, because teams didn't want to lose a draft pick. I mean, granted, it was pretty much across the board. And nobody wanted to lose draft pick, and I think there was also some signing bonus money, or no, it was international signing money that they would lose. Some teams would lose if they signed them before today, which being June 3rd when we're recording this. But now, let the games begin. The bidding war will happen. Teams will go for it. Please, Atlanta Braves, come back home. Kimbrel.
Those guys might both be employed by the time this
airs.
people
Right.
are listening to this.
I'm pretty sure of it.
Yeah.
Sure of it.
Yep. All right, fellas, is that it?
That's it, man.
All right, fella. All right, ladies and gentlemen, worldwide, just to let you know, this is the SportsBros podcast. Be Live, where can they reach you?
Well, you can find me on Instagram or Twitter by my handle name. This be your boy, Be Live, no I. So THSBEYABOYBLIVE. You can also find me on our Facebook like page, SportsBros Podcast. You can find us on Twitter, SportsBros Podcast at SportsBros PCast.
PCast, like peanut. PCast.
We gotta go through some of the names, see what's been taken. I don't know why SportsBros Podcast was taken, because we are who we are, and whoever tried to be who we are, I'm sorry.
We're not gonna let them off the hook.
But also, if you just want to look me up on Facebook, I'm trying to be more social. So my name is Brian Livingston. You look me up. That's part of my government. You ain't getting a middle name, so let it go. With that being said, I mean, check us out. Check out our videos. Check me out on Wednesdays with What Happened.
Pause.
Wednesdays. So, I mean, I'm very excited. Excited about this episode 13. I'll be actually filming episode 15 of What Happened Wednesdays coming up very shortly. Find some time to do that. There's some ridiculous things going on that just leave you scratching your head. So, I'm excited about that. Wow.
Money Man Scotty D, where can they find you?
Mondays, and I hope you guys might join me this evening. I'll be at Molly Darcy's doing my live trivia contest.
We're
TNT Trivia at 6:01 p.m. at Molly Darcy's every Monday, and I can be found on Facebook.
So we'll be at Molly Darcy's yesterday.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, yesterday. We'll probably be having a belly full of wings and everything.
We'll be there.
Yeah, of course, this is Eddie Cool. The HOC can reach me on Instagram. Cool Season on one word. Snapchat Super Cool 5000. Also find me on the SportsBros page that the Almighty Be Live just mentioned, and yeah, you can find me there. Right now, you can kind of find me in the great state of South Carolina between Little River and North Myrtle Beach, just eating up and everything, driving up and down the road, and having fun. Well, that wraps up another edition.
Let's say a big thank you to Sean McKenna for having us.
Thank you, Sean McKenna. We appreciate that. We really appreciate it. This is the first time
we've ever done this, all of us together here, so we appreciate that.
Yeah. Shout out to Sean McKenna, signed up now for getting it done.
4336 Sea Mountain Highway. Hit my man up. This is an amazing setup. Like, he's definitely put this together. Like, we're like astonished. Like, I don't know how much I can stand seeing Scotty D, but you know what? It's actually been pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's been absolutely amazing. Thank you, Sean. Thank you very much, man.
Yeah, thanks, Sean. Appreciate that. Just having everybody in the building here together is wonderful. All right, with that being said, it's been another edition of the SportsBros Podcast. And in closing, do something nice for yourself. And if you can do something nice for somebody else, do it for them too. They greatly appreciate it. This is the SportsBros Podcast.
Peace. Yes, sir.